So I really wasn't expecting the release of one singular card to be this helpful for a deck. When I tried out Constellar about a week ago after the first wave of support, the deck felt really mid, as essentially it just felt like a shittier version of Live Twin. You still had the one card combo, you still generate a little bit of advantage, but your deck just really sucked into any sort of disruption at all. A singular trap card or a singular effect veiler, and you're just completely donezo. And after the brand new support has been added, that's still actually the case. The deck is really sucks into any kind of disruption. But we now have a much more significant upside of a turn 1. Your turn 1 in this game is one of the best turn 1s you can have in all of Duel Links. You're starting with multiple Xyz monsters, you're drawing multiple cards, you can have multiple back row, some hand traps, and you're even going to have protection from things like Book of Moon or Dark Holes or just any kind of those annoying spell cards, Super Poly. This deck feels way goddamn stronger now than it did going first. But going second, it's still just hope to draw your Effect Veilers and your Forbidden Lance, or you're donezo. But with that being said though, I still did manage to go on a 10-game win streak with this deck list. Admittedly, I think I won the coin toss a bit more on average than I normally do, but still, that's still clickbait enough for a YouTube thumbnail, so without further ado, let's jump into this deck list. So here's today's deck list. Now just a reminder before I get to the deck list, if you guys are enjoying today's video and would like to see more content from me in the future or more deck lists from me in the future, please remember to leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel down below. Obviously I still have a bunch of videos planned around the latest box, things like your Mayakashis, your Magical Muskets, your Sue Ships, your Cosmos, maybe even the Machinas or Condemned Witch. So if you're interested in seeing any of that content, please remember to subscribe, that way you won't miss out. And without further ado, let's jump into this deck list. Alright, so obviously I don't want to spend too much time talking about every single individual card in this deck list, considering we just did a Constellar upload less than a week ago. So most of you guys probably have a good understanding of what all the cards in this art type do, but of course we do have a couple of new additions to this deck list. Starting off with your Constellar Caduces, or however you pronounce this card. If you control a Constellar monster except itself, you can spell or summon this card from your hand. During your main phase, you can add one Constellar Spell and Trap card from your deck to your hand. You can use each of the previous effects once per turn. A Constellar Xyz monster that has this card as material gains this effect. If this card battles a light or dark monster, banish that monster before damage calculation. So already this card has a bunch of effects and they're all really goddamn good. First of all, it's just a great extender. If you've got a Constellar monster on the field, you can just slam this thing on the field. This leads to a bunch of 2 Xyz monsters on turn 1, which is something you didn't really get to do with the previous wave of support. Secondly, of course, it adds a Constellar Spell and Trap card from your deck to your hand. Unfortunately, although this effect is nutty, there actually isn't very many good targets specifically for this to search for. The only card that really is okay is Constellar Star Chart. Once per turn, when a Constellar Xyz monster is special summoned to your side of the field, draw 1 card. This feels okay because on top of being able to draw 1 card, sometimes you're able to bounce this card, reactivate it, and then you can do another Xyz summon on the same turn to draw an additional card. So this thing can sometimes be 2 draws, which then feels really goddamn strong. Alright, the last effect, obviously being able to target or be able to battle any light or dark monster and just banish them for free, feels pretty goddamn good in a game with a lot of cards currently that are just not targetable, so sometimes this does come up, but most of the time you're just going to be using it for its extending effect and of course searching for your star chart. And other than that, the only other new addition we've made to this deck list is we've included a singular copy of Constellar Pollux. And the reason we included this is because you need this to do your two Xyz summons on turn 1 play, as you'll see during the gameplay. It's a very standard combo, and you'll see it a whole bunch during the gameplay, depending on what opening hands you get. Because remember, this deck list is still a 1-card combo deck, it now just has the potential to extend a little bit further than that. So without further ado, let's jump to some gameplay showcasing what this shit can do. Alright, let's jump into these replays. So all these replays were gathered from the 10-game win streak I did have with this deck list. Admittedly, I did play a few more games with this deck before this 10-game win streak, but essentially I was basically falling asleep in my chair trying to build this deck. So I went and had a nap, woke up, tried the deck again, and as soon as I tried the deck again, I just absolutely swept everyone, because I was no longer just falling asleep while trying to play it. So this deck felt a lot better when I was actually awake, and yeah, so let's get into it. Like I said though, I still think this deck list is pretty bad going second, but going first is insane now. Alright, so activating our skill, putting our 2 cards in the graveyard, making sure to grab a Pollux this time, but the reason is because we want to do a second normal summon this turn. Alright, activating this effect to summon the extra normal summon, which can now summon out this card from my hand. Also, this card's going to special summon itself by its own effect, but we still have our additional normal summon ready. Alright, activating our star chart, Xyz summoning into our first Xyz monster, drawing a card. This Xyz monster can now bounce my spell card back to my hand, so I can reactivate it. And then with my 2 monsters on field, I can go into a second Constellar, which is of course going to be your Omega, which now allows me to protect myself from Book of Moons, Dark Holes, Sewer Polys, all that kind of stuff. And I draw an additional card. So I'll Crackdown and a Veiler. Alright, start of my turn. Normally you want to hold off on using the Omega's effect for this specific reason, because obviously your opponent can just chain to it. But in this specifically this matchup, I was worried my opponent might have opened the Sewer Poly, which then if they normal summon Neos, they can activate Sewer Poly immediately, and I can't even like respond to it. So yeah, I wanted to use this before they could just use their non-responsive Sewer Poly, but yeah, this does mean I'm really susceptible to Book of Moon now. But normally, yeah, like I said, you want to hold off on it until like they want to actually try to target you with a spell card or try to use the Dark Hole or whatever. Alright, summons out the Neos. Searches for another Neos. This tells me he actually has Sewer Poly already. Crackdown, yoinking his monster. He wasn't able to Sewer Poly with this because of course this thing was still protected from the Sewer Poly effect. Alright, flip my card face up, activating Omega. He activates Sewer Poly. This is completely fine. I was happy with him doing this because I've already drawn my Forbidden Lance, so I know I've basically got lethal after this. This card's immune to his back row, and whatever I try to place on the field, I can make immune to his back row, so he's very dead. Tries to use Compulse, we don't really care. I haven't used my second normal summon from this thing's effect yet, so go into my M7, bounce his monster, after drawing an extra card of course. Yeah, look how much value this deck generates now, it feels so much better. Like I did say during the intro though, I think my coin tosses were mostly wins today, so you're probably going to see a lot of going first in these replays. It's a shame this decklist struggles to extend. You can try to fix that a little bit by playing more of the Pollux. That does sort of fix it a little bit, but then you have just less tech cards and then your draws are all much worse and it just makes your turn 1 worse, so I just was like, just have an insane turn 1 and call it a day. Alright, someone banishing a card, grabbing of course the Searcher. Searcher, grabbing a copy of your Caduces, or how you pronounce this thing. Searching for your spell card, activating it, going for your Bouncer, drawing a card, and setting myself in passing. This was all a 1-card combo, by the way. This was just 1-card combo. We didn't have to use any other extenders for this. We just searched for the extenders and played them. And activates this. I'm not going to let him go into his Links monsters, so I just bounce it immediately. Unfortunately, turns out this guy was playing Toon Mech Knight Crusade. I don't know what was going on here. Either way, he's doing a bunch of Mech Knight stuff. Not too scared. We still have a Crackdown ready. So he's going to use his grab, search for his secret. Summon out his monster, we're going to yoink that monster so he can destroy anything important. Now we've just guaranteed one, so we just bounce his card whenever we feel like it. As soon as he tries to activate it, it's continuous, so we can just put it back in his hand and we're good. M7's going to draw me an extra additional card. Activates his secret, we're going to be bouncing that. Like, it looks like I'm drawing into, or it looks like I have so much back row in this deck, but that's actually just not even true. This deck list hasn't got that much back row. In terms of, like, actual disruption back row, we've actually only got Veiler and Crackdown. But because this deck can now draw so much, you're just going to see them way more often. So it just makes the deck feel so much better. Because, yeah, those are the only 2 disruption cards we've got in terms of back row. We're playing Lance, and that's it. So it's actually not that heavy of a back row deck, it just feels that way because you draw so heavily. Alright. So activating my chart, we open a copy of my Constellar blah 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 blah, which means we can do an extender play this time. Alright, adding my extra normal summon, so I can extra normal summon this dude. Searching for my special summon, already opened this thing so I don't need to search for it. Just go into my dude, bounce my card, special summon, and then get an additional draw. Hoping to hit a Veiler or a Lance here. Actually, probably just want to hit the Veiler. And we hit the Veiler. Alright. Tenyi is such an interesting matchup to play against, because I never know when I'm meant to use the Disruption, because obviously they have that quick play spell card that can tribute their Tenyis to search for other cards, so it feels bad to try to target them before they're going to have to tribute important monsters to do so, so I just sort of let him play the game. Probably wasn't the best idea, honestly. Summons out his Yang Zing. Gonna target both these cards, I have a Veiler for it. Unfortunately, he has the tribute, so yeah, unlucky. Can bounce this card in response though, so it's not that bad, and we still have Crackdown. So summons the Ashuna, my Ashuna now. Alright, we still got a follow up, so just summon, and he just concedes before we go any further. Alright, on to the next one. This is the kind of deck, by the way, where it seems like it could be a top tier deck. It just seems that good of a turn one. And going second is definitely pretty bad, but I know deck lists that normally have insane turn ones like this generally end up being somewhat top tier. But we have to wait and see. It definitely feels like it's still a little bit worse than just playing standard Life Twin, so maybe if Life Twin is like tier 2, maybe it's a tier 3 sort of a deck? I don't know. Definitely good enough for Cold or KC Cup though. Right, unfortunately my opponent gets hit by the Veiler. Huge counter to this poor dude. We've drawn our Lance, so we're pretty good to go. He tries to compulse me, I can Lance myself. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't play this deck list without triple Lance, that would be trolling your ass off. It is the only way to play going second, so triple Lance, triple Veiler, and you're good to go. Alright, additional normal summon, normal summoning, searching for, of course, our boy. He just concedes because he's playing the same deck list, and he knows what, or same archetype, and he knows what's about to happen. Alright, up against Yusoro. He was not playing trains, he was baiting me. I think he was actually playing... Was he also playing Constellar? Definitely wasn't playing... Oh no, he's playing Maikashi. As soon as I saw that skill, I was like, alright, I know what I'm setting up this turn. We drew the extender monster, so we can kind of just go for our extender play. And we're going to aim for 2 Xyz monsters this turn, but not 2 Constellars. So Pollux, additional normal summon. Searching for our boy. Go for our first monster, our Abyss Dweller, making sure to use specifically the level 4s, because obviously this one's a level 5 and the skill only applies to let you should use for any level if you're going for Constellar monsters. Alright, now we're going to search, go for our Constellar. And now we have an Abyss Dweller and he's playing Maikashi, so I don't even know if this deck can play through Abyss Dweller at all, so... He's going to activate at the start of his turn, goes for a Book of Moon, that's fine, we've got Lance. Yeah, I don't really know what this guy was going to do at all. 1 for 1, sending a card to the graveyard, summon his Maikashi, we're just going to effect Veil that. Probably didn't really need to, but I don't know. Just in case. I don't think we're in a bad state if we do waste our back row. Crackdown, yoinking his card. Draws an extra card and he's just dead. Alright, next up. This is another absolute beta. Someone else pretending to be playing an archetype they're not. I think this guy was playing Tenyi, I think? Up to the 7-game win streak. Yeah, I think this guy was on Tenyi. A lot of betas today. Then again, I'm playing like Grandpa Modo, so... Get hit by a DD Crow, which feels absolutely disgusting. Thankfully, we've already got another normal summon in hand, so it's fine to keep going. Does mean we're going to end on no follow-up though, which is rare for this deck list. Get hit by a Book of Moon. Thankfully, we do have a Veiler and a Crackdown. Alright, normal summons his card. I'm going to Veil that so it doesn't get a search. He does have an extender, but I know as soon as I get rid of this, that deck has no more extenders left. So unless he has an MST, he's in a bit of a strife. Video over his monster. Decided not to set this just in case during battle phase he tried to use this to protect his monster. And yeah, he just done so. Alright, so I think we're down to the final replay now. This must be the 10th game, I think, and this was a 10E player. Playing serious. I do like the addition of the legend skills to this game. It feels so nice to be able to just play any character you feel like. Especially when you've got a lot of characters that already max level. It means you can level up some of the ones you haven't leveled yet. Like, I think my Grandpa Moto was like level like 2 or something, so I started leveling him using the skills. Which is why you saw him for my Shadow video as well, which I uploaded before this one. Alright, searching for my Sombre, we'll follow up on the following turn, because of course we already have our extender. Star chart, searching, special summon. There's my Omega, so we're safe from Book of Moons, drawing an additional card, and we have one Crackdown, protection from Book, and a bounce effect. Alright, so once again, just like with the previous guy, I'm not really sure when I'm meant to use Disruption here, because I'm really scared of that quick play spell that distributes to dodge whenever I target, so I'm just sort of going to wait till he summons something important, then I'll use my back row on it. It's really weird I was playing against this guy too, because he was like really waiting on each of these summons, so I was pretty sure the card he had in hand was actually the tribute thing, and he was just trying to bait it out the entire time, so I was just not using anything. He was waiting on, it took so long in between summons. Anyway, gain some life points, Crackdown, joining his card, and he just concedes. Alright guys, that's going to do it for today's replays. Hope you guys enjoyed them. If you did, remember to leave a like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. Remember, plenty of videos still coming out based on the latest box, so if you want to see those, remember to subscribe. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. Hope you see you in the next one. Laters.
Hey, big brother, can I watch SpongeBob? Shut up, Mokuba. I'm busy flagging YouTube videos to compensate for the fact that I have an extremely small penis. Oh.